on that, but it's not looking too impressive either as far as any rotation goes there. But again, those of you up to the northeast of Hartford, up toward the Fordsville area, you at least have the potential for some damaging 60-mile-per-hour wind gust with that cell. We have another weaker one right along the Warwick, Spencer County line moving to the north, so that'll affect kind of eastern Warwick County there, and then another cell that's trying to pop up down in Madisonville. But again, no warnings on those, so we just keep watching those closely. So is the Weather Service, and if they start to show any rotation or strengthening, they could certainly issue a warning there. And then you see kind of what we have is more of what will be our final line, we think, of storms just approaching the southwest edge of the tri-state. No warnings along that line right now, and we would like to keep it that way, but there's the potential for that line to strengthen in at least some areas too as it moves from southwest to northeast across the tri-state here late this afternoon and evening. So that's kind of the latest from over here, Wayne. Fairly good news, I would say, as far as any damage reports out of Union County so far.
Okay, and it looks like the storm is now beginning to move out of the Mount Vernon area, so we'll be hoping to hear good news from Mount Vernon, but we're still seeing rotation right there. As I mentioned, it looks a little bit more on the east side of Mount Vernon, now moving northward into the areas between Farmersville to the west and Bufkin to the east. So if you live in that corridor there, you need to be in your tornado safe area. Bufkin, you're technically not in the warning, but it is moving right towards that corridor there, about to cross Indiana 69 to the north of Mount Vernon, and that will continue to move off, and we'll probably get an additional warning of some sort for the rest of Posey County, or at least for points up to the north. But you can see Mount Vernon. I'm not going to give you the all clear just yet, but this storm is almost, at least the rotating part of the storm, now beginning to push more to the northeast of Mount Vernon. So I say about another 5 minutes and we might be in better shape. Stacey.
And unfortunately, we're starting to hear now some more damage reports out of Union County. Our newsroom just kind of came in and gave me an update, and they've been talking with Union County Dispatch and the EMA director there, and they are beginning to take more and more damage reports, especially between Uniontown and Henshaw, and they are starting to say that there are at least some houses damaged. No indication of how much or how extensive the damage is, but again, now beginning to hear and get more damage reports in over there in Union County, again, especially between Union County and Henshaw. And it also looks like we're going to have some more video of the tornado coming into our newsroom. So when we get that, we'll pass that along to you. Actually, there it is, right there. This was obviously sent in to us from one of our viewers there, and this was just a little while ago when that tornado that we were telling you was confirmed on the ground in Union County was moving through there. That's the latest, Wayne, from there, starting to see and get more reports, unfortunately.
And Cody Bailey is in our mobile storm tracker in Union County right now. We're trying to establish a connection with him, and we'll hopefully get a live report from Union County soon. And it looks like we have new confirmation coming in with the warning in Posey County, and they've extended it, is exactly what they've done. So the circulation right now, and we'll get to Stacey here in just a moment with the details, is right along Indiana 69, northeast of Mount Vernon, southwest or southeast of Farmersville, and moving towards Bufkin. So if we're lucky, it may go in just west of Bufkin. Looks like it's going to stay east of Farmersville. But if you're in the Bufkin area, you need to be in your tornado safe area right now. This is going to be a very close call for you. Also for Farmersville, but it just looks like it's going to go in a little farther east of Farmersville. It'll stay east of 69 as you get farther to the north. So Solitude, you'll miss this. But after it goes through Bufkin, Oliver would be the next community in line. And then as we continue to the north, Hepburn, Wadesville, probably more west of Wadesville, and then we got the new warning in effect for basically the rest of Posey County. So what is the Weather Service saying now, Stacey, about the extension on this warning?
They have ramped that tornado warning back up again to one that's, again, a kind of a confirmed tornado. So that's why you're seeing it go from the red tornado warning to kind of back to the pink. So take a look closer here, but now the tornado warning is for southwestern Gibson County and northeastern Posey County. And you can see there on that box, it barely gets in to southwestern Gibson County right right now. But if we have to continue this warning farther to the north, those of you around, southwestern Gibson County, you will be next in line to potentially have this tornado that obviously has been confirmed on the ground and causing some damage. So they're calling this again a particularly dangerous situation with a damaging tornado. Public confirmed tornado is the wording that they're using. They have it moving north at 25 miles per hour, and they've been getting, again, video from the public showing a fairly large tornado still on the ground in some spots. So ramped down a little bit, it seemed like, but now it appears to be ramping back up. So some of the communities in line, New Harmony and Blairsville in the next 5 minutes around 4:30, and then Poseyville at 4:40 and Cynthiana at 4:45. So that's the latest there. Now that other tornado warning, Wayne, that has been much weaker than this one over there in northeastern Vanderbilt County, northwestern Warwick County, and southeastern Gibson County, that is going to be allowed to expire. That storm has weakened below severe limits.
Well, that's good news. And I think as the farther north these get, the more they tend to weaken. They'll be moving away from that warm front that is setting up to our south, which is increasing the wind shear. But still a very dangerous situation in southern Posey County to the northeast of Mount Vernon, where we have a confirmed tornado. We don't know yet of damage in Mount Vernon. We're getting reports of some damage in Union County, and now that circulation is pushing up towards Buffkin. And let's just take a look at reflectivity here. Yeah, that you can see the hook now. So the reflectivity is actually updating quicker than the velocity data is. So let me show you this right now. The hook is right between Farmersville to the west, Buffkin to the east. I've been telling you all along, it looks like it's going to go right in between. Could be hitting either community, but most favorite area would be in that area right there, right between Farmersville and Buffkin, and then we'll move up in this direction, and the next close call is going to be for Oliver. It's going to stay east of Solitude, but Oliver will be the next community in line, and that would be about 5 to 10 minutes from now. So remain in your tornado-safe area in the Farmersville, Buffkin area. Tornado looks like it's passing very close to you, maybe right in between the two communities, and then continuing to the north-northeast, heading next towards the community of Oliver. Now, our mobile storm tracker, Cody Bailey, has been out in Union County, and I believe we have established communication with Cody. Cody, if you can hear me now, let me know where you are in Union County and what you've been seeing.
We are, I believe we are the far northwest corner, just south of the river in far northwestern Henderson County. Unfortunately, we've kind of lost the advantage. Camera here zoomed in towards the river, looking on the back edge of that cloud, and just as the timing we were listening in, of course, since then we've lost a little bit of our cell connection to be able to hear you all at the studio. But just as Stacy had mentioned that the Weather Service noted that this could be cycling, from our vantage point, hard to tell, but we saw a very rapid rotating trend on the back of this storm, a well-defined funnel. Hard to tell from our vantage point if it was reaching the ground just about, I'd say probably about 7 minutes ago. But that is looking at the back edge of that storm. Again, some of the rain behind it kind of wrapping. Still some clouds that are a little bit lower that we can see off into the distance, and still seeing some hints of rotation. But Wayne and Stacy, it was pretty well defined, and it looked like it quickly organized into a well-defined funnel, if not touching the ground again about 5 to 7 minutes ago. So to your all's points and to the point of the Weather Service as well, this could be in the process of just kind of pulsing up and down, kind of moments where it is on the ground, then it lifts and strengthens a little bit to get back on the ground too. But again, unfortunately, we've kind of lost a little bit of that vantage point that you can see on the back edge of what looked to be, a well-defined wall cloud, definite rotation that we saw, and still seeing some hints of that off into the distance. A little hard to tell from the camera.
All right, Cody, thank you. We're losing your signal, and I do want to get back to Posey County because this storm is now cycling back up again. As Cody mentioned, it may have been weakening a bit there near the river in Union County, but look at that rotation now, getting very close to Buffkin. Some pretty intense returns there. And I did just see a picture on my social media of some minor damage on the east side of Mount Vernon. It looked like some metal siding had been blown into some power lines here. So again, if you can safely get us a picture, submit it with our Tri-State on the Go app, and that way we can get it on the air. Social media, I won't be able to see it until after the fact here, but I did just glance, and there was minor damage on the east side of Mount Vernon, and this storm now looks stronger than it was when it pushed through the Mount Vernon area, and about to move, is moving through the area there just between Farmersville and Bufkin. Very close call for both communities. If anything, maybe Bufkin might be a little bit more in the sights there of this storm, but the rotation is in this area right here, and we match it up with the reflectivity, and which again, it looks like it's outpacing the velocity a little bit. It looks like it's now shifting up to the north of Farmersville and Bufkin. And then Oliver will be the next community in line. So if you live in Oliver or in that rural area between Solitude and Oliver, you need to be getting into your tornado safe area. I will zoom in a little bit tighter yet to make sure we don't miss any smaller communities here in line with this storm. But as it moves out of Bufkin, this is Oliver Road. So it looks like it's going to be tracking just west of Oliver Road and maybe clipping the city of Oliver, especially just to the west here in the next 5, maybe 10 minutes. So Oliver is the next community in line that you have to pay close attention to in terms of a possible tornado that is now down in the Bufkin area, moving to the northeast at 30 miles per hour. It's still that pinkish purple polygon, which means a confirmed tornado that is now moving in or moving across southern Posey County. So Oliver is next in line, and after it gets through Oliver, it would continue up the Spring Hill or Springfield Road area north of Oliver, fairly rural area it looks like, eventually getting up towards Rapture, and this could be a close call eventually for Poseyville, perhaps coming in just west of Poseyville, but we'll take a closer look at that in a moment. But right now, in terms of where it is currently, moving out of the Bufkin area and moving up towards Oliver. There's Oliver located right there. Let's check velocity data once again, see what we got in terms of rotation. Yes, very close to. Yeah, it looks like it's probably in that area right there. Yeah, somewhere there, just to the northwest of Bufkin is my best estimate in terms of where this tornado is. And it looks like, again, they have confirmed that. So what I want to do here is I'm going to back up off of the zoomed in version here, just to give you a little better perspective in terms of what we're dealing with. And the new sweep just came in, and boy, all right, let me get back here and zoom on in, because now we've got a much more pronounced couplet that's much more distinct. You can see it right there, the red up against the blue. So now we've got a tornado north of Johnson Road. Looks like it's right along, forgive me here for spinning around, Spring Switch Road, just trying to read these labels of these small roads, but it looks like it's somewhere near Spring Switch Road to the north of Johnson Road, and that would be the circulation right there. I'm going to pull back just a little bit because we are really zoomed in tight here, but so Bufkin's down there. There is your tornado. It's more than likely going to pass just west of Oliver. It's going to stay east of Solitude. So if you're in that area to the west, southwest of Oliver now, but it's going to move up in that direction. This looks like the real deal. We have confirmation from ground level. We're seeing this storm really tighten up in the rotation. Look at the dark blues up against the reds. That storm is spinning there and more than likely producing a tornado that's going to come very close to the community of Oliver, but probably track just to the west of Oliver over that rural area. We did have some damage confirmed in the east side of Mount Vernon. It was minor damage from what I saw, but this storm right now looks much stronger than it did when it went through the Mount Vernon area. So it is cycling up once again. So what I want to do here, that's your tornado. It's going to move in this direction. So it should stay west of Hepburn, should stay west of Wadesville, but Poseyville, if you just extend this all the way up, it's going to get very close to Poseyville. I'm being told now we have video of this tornado. Let's take a look. Where's the video from? When was it taken? Do we know?
I think it was near Mount Vernon, when it was near Mount Vernon.
Mount Vernon, okay. So this is video of that tornado. You see right across the river there. It's probably taken maybe from the Kentucky side, looking over towards Indiana, And you can see the tornado that we know produced some damage on the east side of Mount Vernon. What I saw was minor, but I just saw one picture. So again, Tri-State on the Go app. Send us your pictures safely. We can get them on the air. We get video on the air. But you can clearly see there that tornado, which now may be even more pronounced than what it was doing in the Mount Vernon area. All right, let's get back to Doppler radar here, because I want to show you, there's your tornado. We shoot it to the northeast. This is going to be close call for Poseyville. So if we just continue in a straight line through the middle of that polygon, this is going to get very close to Poseyville. So let's put a storm track on this. I assume, Stacy, it's still 30 miles per hour.
It is. Yep.
As far as what we can tell. So I'm going to put a cone on this, and we will extend it from about right there, and we will send it off at 30 miles per hour in that general direction. And we're spreading it out a little bit, but if we just push it in that direction, Nash Park at 446, Winfield Church at 448. So that wouldn't put it into the Poseyville area until at least 450, if not 455. But there's your tornado right there. You can clearly see the rotation. It will pass west of Hepburn. It's going to go over a fairly rural area, fortunately, but eventually get very close to Poseyville as we get closer to the 5 o'clock hour. This is the most pronounced we've seen it from a radar standpoint so far. And I want to take a look at our sky cams there, Stacy, looking off to the west. I don't think our USI camera has a good view in that direction, but we might be able to get a fix on that. But that is certainly a very pronounced signature confirmation that we have a tornado. So we're going to just stay with this. It's the only tornado warning that we have right now in Posey County, which is fortunate that we're not dealing with multiple tornadic storms here, but this one is certainly significant. Let me clear that storm track away. And so this is very close to Oliver now. Again, like I've been saying, I think it's going to pass just west of Oliver. And so this is now somewhere near Harmony Springfield Road, maybe just east of Harmony Springfield Road. It's going to go up to Williams Road in that general direction here. And let me just back this off a little bit. We're pretty tight there. We'll back it up just a little bit. And we lost our I want to get some of those smaller roads in there. So let's just tighten this up a little bit here. And then we're really going to focus in on what's going on in Posey County. And let's just go in a little bit tighter. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so we got our roads here. And we're watching this now just to the west of Oliver, to the northeast of Solitude. And the tornado is in this area right here. So we'll back it off. Check reflectivity, see how that's lining up with that area. And it looks like it's in this notch right here. And now we got a new update. So now it's even farther to the north. So let me make sure we're panning here. And we will now see the storm has moved to the north of Oliver. So it's up here over rural areas, northwest of Oliver. It looks like it's right along Harmony Springfield Road. Right on Harmony Springfield Road to the northwest of Oliver, moving to the north. It's going to be crossing over Hidbrader Road, next Harmony Township Road. It's just south of that intersection between Harmony Township and Harmony Springfield Road there in central Posey County. That's reflectivity. Let's just see if we get a new velocity update here that matches up with that. So velocity is a little bit is lagging behind, unfortunately. Basically, there it comes. All right, there we go. So there's the tornado right here. That is matching up with the reflectivity in that notch right there. So we've got a tornado on Harmony Springfield Road to the northwest of Oliver. We're in central Posey County right now, and this tornado is moving off to the northeast. It does have a history of producing at least some damage. We don't know of major damage, but we do know some minor damage on the east side of Evansville, or not Evansville, forgive me, east side of Mount Vernon. And now that storm is up into central portions of Posey County and still looking very organized here on a live Doppler radar. So as it goes up Harmony Springfield Road, it will eventually track east of that particular road, stay over a fairly rural area as it crosses Indiana 66, well to the west of Wadesville, and to the east of New Harmony. So this will come in between New Harmony and Wadesville. I don't see a threat to either of those communities. Then it will cross 69 and then get up towards the Rapture area, Stewartsville perhaps, and then eventually we talk about Posey County, which is over here. I'm sorry, Poseyville. And so it's going to be perhaps more of a threat to Stewartsville. It's going to be a close call for both Stewartsville and Poseyville up here in far northern Posey County as the storm continues to move up right now through the central part of the county located right there. So any new information, Stacey, from the Weather Service on this?
They just updated the warning again, but right now they're sticking with that damaging tornado warning. So again, a higher end tornado warning, which is why you see that polygon in that purplish pink shade. But again, that will continue until 5 o'clock. They still have not extended that any farther to the north in Gibson County. But it's only got about 20 more minutes left on that warning. So they're going to have to kind of decide what they're going to do with the rest of kind of western Gibson County here pretty shortly. But they're still saying a confirmed large and dangerous tornado located near Blairsville, moving north a little bit slower, if anything, at about 25 miles per hour. But of course, this storm, as you know, has a history of producing a large and damaging tornado on the ground. And that has all been confirmed by the public, by pictures, by video, by storm spotters. So again, that's where it is right now. So like Wayne told you, close call for the Poseyville area. And again, right now that warning just goes into kind of the Gibson-Posey County line there. But if that is extended any farther to the north, that will likely bring more of far western Gibson County into that. And that could include the town of Owensville there. If it stays on its track, especially the west side of Owensville and over toward the Johnson area, they're kind of moving right along and west of I-165. So we'll continue to keep an eye on it. Like I said, I would assume in the next 10 minutes or so, we'll get another update on this warning from the Weather Service out of Paducah. And they'll kind of let us know how much farther north they're going to extend that warning and what kind of tornado warning they're going to go with.
Okay, and you did mention Blairsville in the Weather Service verbiage.
That's where they had it near in their last update.
It's a computer kind of generating towns. This is west of Blairsville and Wadesville. But I'm in communication right now with a police officer in Mount Vernon, and he showed me a picture of damage to the shopping center there, where they are trying to get the gas line shut off. So they want you to avoid Route 62 in Mount Vernon, especially near Plaza Drive. They are trying to get the gas shut down there. Damage is a structural damage to a shopping center in Mount Vernon. We don't know of injuries at this point, but again, I'm looking at this on social media, so unfortunately I can't turn it around and get it to you on air. But that is the situation right now from Mount Vernon. Now, as we get back to the tornado here, as it is right now in central Posey County, there's Wadesville. The tornado is right here, getting ready to cross Indiana 66, and so that's going to be heading up towards Rapture, would be the next community in line. So, again, just check velocity here, and we continue to see some pretty significant rotation with this storm. Let me check raw velocity. And yeah, it looks like it's probably right there. So it at least is over a pretty rural area there, staying west of Hepburn. And then we'll be crossing 66 here to the west of Wadesville. And Blairsville's over here, so it's going to continue in that fashion. But you can see the red and the blue right up next to each other. Dark blue up against dark red right there. So that's your tornado right there. Let me see how that lines up with the reflectivity. And I think the reflectivity is updating faster. So my guess is it's somewhere up here right now, west of Wadesville, as it continues to push on to the north. So let me look at that velocity again, because that really does a nice job of pinpointing exactly where that tornado is, which will be crossing Indiana 66 next. And then as you head north, the Rapture would be the next community that looks to be in a direct line to experience this tornado. There's Rapture, there's the tornado, and it's moving in that direction. So if you live up in the community of Rapture in Posey County, you need to be in your tornado safe area right now. Basement if you have one. If not, lowest floor of your home. Many walls between you and the wind as possible. Get underneath a big piece of furniture. something sturdy, mattress, blanket, helmets, shoes, cell phone, and get into your safe area, and we'll ride this storm out, which is over rural areas now of central Posey County, passing to the west of Hepburn and Wadesville, and we'll be crossing Indiana 66 here shortly, and then moving up towards the Rapture area as we continue to see this supercell hold together. And it looked like it really ramped up in intensity. Did produce damage, we know, in the city of Mount Vernon. The shopping center has structural damage there. We don't know of injuries at this point. And that storm now looked even stronger once it pushed out of the Mount Vernon area. So now...
And still a spotter, Wayne. Right now, just the Weather Service saying still a spotter reporting a tornado still on the ground west of Wadesville.
Okay.
And getting lots of reports of just trees down in all parts of Posey County.
Right, yeah, so this is the real deal, folks. I mean, sometimes we're not quite sure if it's actually on the ground. We see rotation. In a lot of cases, it's just a rotating storm. But unfortunately, in this scenario, we've got confirmed tornado that has a history of producing damage, and everything we see from both the ground truth and radar indicates that this is on the ground producing damage, moving towards the community of Rapture, about to cross Indiana 66 west of Wadesville, and then we'll go up very close to Rapture, if anything, maybe just west of Rapture. So for those of you who might be living out in the country here, if you are in that vicinity of Rapture, and especially points just west of Rapture along 68, you need to be in your tornado safe area. And honestly, if you live in a mobile home up here, you still have some time to get out and move away instead of trying to ride this out in a mobile home, because you don't want to be in that situation. Unfortunately, it's not a solid line of severe storms. You can get out of the path of this pretty quickly. You got time. Just go east or west. You don't go north or south. Head east or west of your location if you're in this path, and you have time to get away from this. You don't want to ride out a tornado in a mobile home. We know how quickly they can get damage in a situation like this. But areas near Rapture are next. This tornado crossing Indiana 66 now, west of Wadesville, and we'll be passing very close to Rapture and then getting close to Stewartsville next, maybe just west of the Stewartsville area, as we continue to see a very pronounced couplet here on Doppler radar, maybe looking in the latest scan a little less pronounced. And I'm going to back this up here, because if you look at it over time, it's a lot easier to really pinpoint the circulation. So that's what we're looking at right now. I'm going to back this up, pull it out. Okay, so clearly there you can see, and we'll pull it all the way down here to the Mount Vernon area where we know there was damage. So when this was in Mount Vernon, not quite as organized right there. I mean, there it is in Mount Vernon doing damage. Watch as it goes north of Mount Vernon. Watch the red and the blue get more right there. Look at that. So that stronger as it moved northeast of Mount Vernon. And then as we continue, we can still see it wrapped up tightly there as it passes east of Farmersville, continues to stay wrapped pretty tight. And as we continue to push it to the north, we're looking at that blue. Now it does look a little weaker. That latest scan looks a little weaker. We lost the reds right up against the blues. So that might be an indication this is cycling down again, but it's done that before and then cycled right back up. Let's look at the shear tracks. Let's look at the history of this rotation. And gosh, that shear track is almost due north now in terms of and sometimes these will adjust their direction a little bit, but you just continue that blue line northward, and I can actually draw a line here, I believe, and we just push that line to the north in that direction, and that would be your favored track for this tornado coming in certainly west of Wadesville. We told you that, and it's to the east of New Harmony, and let's track that even more, and that would keep it still west of Poseyville. So at least if we just extrapolate it from where it is now, that's an indication of where it may be going next. But at least the latest scan is looking a little bit weaker. Just to bring this into perspective here, we're all northwest of Madisonville, or Evansville, forgive me, northwest of Evansville, up in northern Posey County, where we have that circulation now east of New Harmony. And perhaps still producing a tornado, though the latest scan not looking quite as pronounced as it did earlier. But that's what came out of Mount Vernon, so it's gone all the way across the county, almost due north. So it looks like this will likely stay west of Poseyville and then go up into southwestern Gibson County. So just wanted to kind of take a look at how things have evolved here. Fortunately, it's the only one we have to worry about right now. But that circulation located in that hook right there, so it looks like it will stay west of Poseyville. Originally, I thought this could be a close call for Poseyville, but right now it looks like it's going to come in just to the west of Poseyville. Rapture, I've been telling you about that. Rapture is next in line, getting very close to that community. So Rapture and Stewartsville, much more dangerous situation for you compared to Poseyville, which is a little farther to the east here. But that tornado is probably right there, moving into Rapture now, heading up into Stewartsville next, and then it crosses 64 and gets into Gibson County. But there, it looks like the new scan just came in, and that hook not looking quite as pronounced. Let's check out the storm relative velocity here. And we're still getting, see, that's really lagging behind by about 2 minutes. So we can see how broader the circulation was compared to it was earlier. So my guess is right now it is near Rapture, if not just west of Rapture, and we'll be moving up next towards the Stewartsville area. So that's the latest in Posey County. Stacy, you got anything coming in from the Weather Service spotters? I'm going to get a chance to check social media here real quick.
Nothing new from spotters, except we're still getting a lot of reports from our newsroom. They're checking scanners and talking with the different areas in Posey County, and still just saying a lot of trees down in many parts of the county. So still getting quite a few damage reports there. Like Wayne said, this storm right now appears to be maybe cycling down a little bit. So the latest from the Weather Service on this tornado warning up in northern Posey County and just along the southwestern Gibson and Posey County line. They still haven't extended it any farther to the north into southwestern Gibson County. They just updated it and kept it, though, at that considerable damage tornado warning in that shade of purple for us. I think they're probably waiting to see, since it does appear it's cycling down a bit, if it's going to continue. If you remember back, if you've been with us for a while, when it was moving up into the city of Mount Vernon, it did sort of look like maybe it was cycling down a bit, but then that didn't last and it cycled back up. Hopefully this time it's cycling down and that trend will continue. But again, this warning that goes up to right along the Gibson-Posey County line there is going to go just until 5 o'clock. So in the next few minutes, we'll know if they're going to extend that tornado warning any farther to the north and what kind of tornado warning they're going to issue for that. Hopefully it will continue to look a little weaker like it is right now with your rotation. But if you are up in southwestern Gibson County, especially from Owensville to the west and southwest, I would be in your tornado safe spot right now, just to be on the safe side and just stay there until this storm moves up and then through your area. So again, it's a pretty rural area once you get west of the town of Owensville there and then over toward the Grayville area as this kind of moves up to the north. But again, in these areas, just kind of here's a heads up, be in your tornado safe spot as we continue to watch this storm, which as you've seen has certainly a history of producing a large and damaging tornado, at least at times. Let me pull you back and kind of give you some good news, and that's that is our only warning that we have on the board, tornado or severe thunderstorm. We have quite a few clusters of storms off to the east of that, and then this should be our final line of storms that's now kind of stretching from Flora down to Fairfield into White County and the Carmi area, and then now moving into western Posey County, western Union County, and starting to get into parts of western Webster and Hopkins County. That line, though, has not had any warnings on it so far late this afternoon and into early this evening, and hopefully we can keep it that way, because it is going to make its way across the entire tri-state from kind of southwest to northeast here over the next few hours. But again, no warnings in that line right now, certainly some heavy rain, and we can't rule out something trying to spin up along that line as it continues to push to the east. But right now, we're looking okay with at that. And like I said, we should get an update, Wayne, on this tornado warning that's in far northern Posey County and heading up into southwestern Gibson County here shortly.
All right, and just checking social media, more damage from the Mount Vernon area. A line of train cars knocked over near Expressway Ford. A long line of boxcars were knocked down by the tornado there. We don't know of injuries, but we do know of that. We know of damage at the shopping center in Mount Vernon. I don't know which shopping center, more likely one on the east side, but just checking some social media reports there of what happened in Mount Vernon. The storm right now looking a little weaker as it approaches I-64 to the west of Stewartsville, and this is right up along 64, and so that's going to eventually get up into Gibson County, and we'll know here shortly if the Weather Service is going to extend this tornado warning up a little farther to the north. But just checking the velocity data down here, it is not looking quite as pronounced as it did earlier. But let me just go ahead and check here. Looks like it's passing just to the west of Poseyville. As we mentioned, this was going to be a close call for Poseyville. It looks like it's passing just west of Poseyville, pushing up into the Stewartsville area. We got a picture of the tornado, and this was taken from, I believe, Wadesville, looking west, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, this is up looking at that storm from Wadesville to the west, and you can clearly see the wall cloud descending down. You really can't see the tornado on the ground, but that wall cloud is pretty close to the ground there. Not unusual when you have air this moist that you get ceilings that low, but that's just the storm we've been tracking from a visual standpoint that is now passing just west of Poseyville. And again, you can send us pictures on our Tri-State On The Go app. If you send it on social media, I'm not going to see it for another hour or two, so try to get it on our app. And we have had an extension, it looks like, of the tornado warning there, and that is indeed for western Gibson County. Yeah,
new tornado warning, like we told you, we were expecting here in the next few minutes. They have kind of brought it down, though, to that base tornado warning. So that is some encouraging news, but still a tornado warning for south central Wabash County, southwestern Gibson County, and then just the far northeastern part of Posey County as that storm is getting close to crossing over the county line there from Posey County into Gibson County. And this is going to go for about the next 30 minutes, a few minutes more until 5:30. But the Weather Service is saying a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado located over Poseyville, again, mainly to the west of Poseyville, as Wayne's been telling you. And that's moving up to the north at 30 miles per hour. So good news somewhat that it does appear to continue right now to be in kind of a down cycle. And we've seen this storm cycle up and down. So can't rule out it trying to cycle back up. But at least right now, they're going with kind of a regular tornado warning. And that does include the town of Owensville. That's kind of the far western fringe of this warning. So basically from Owensville off to the west and to the north of the Poseyville area. That's where we have this tornado warning right now, especially along and west there of 165. So that's the latest from the Weather Service, Wayne, and we're hoping that it kind of stays in this down cycle and maybe even weakens more, but we'll continue to watch it.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, we've seen that with storms. Once they get up along I-64, they're a little farther north, a little farther away from the shear and instability. But it did look, I was just looking at the reflectivity over time, and what was more of a northerly track did turn a little more northeast and may have clipped Poseyville, based on some of the scans there. It looked like originally it was going to stay west of Poseyville. It did turn more to the northeast, but you can see that circulation now is to the north and northwest of Poseyville, right along Indiana, probably just west of 165 there as you come out of Poseyville up into Gibson County. And there's the radar. The next Doppler radar in Owensville. This circulation should pass just to the west of the radar, but it's obviously scanning at some very low levels there and has an excellent view into what's happening at ground level. But we're not seeing, as we've been saying over the past 10 minutes, this is not looking as pronounced as it did earlier with that strong couplet that really evolved as was pulling out of Mount Vernon into Posey County. I'm sure there was some kind of trees knocked down there. But in terms of actual homes being damaged, we don't know yet. But it didn't look good on radar as it pushed out of Mount Vernon across Posey County. But it does look like it's weakening a bit here as it now crosses I-64 and pushes north of Poseyville. And just looking at some of the different velocity here, again, we're not seeing a really organized couplet, and we're seeing that hook in that area right here, pretty much right along now the Gibson Posey County line. Looks like it's north of 64. So if you're listening in the vehicle there on I-64, it is now north of 64 to the west of the Poseyville exit, moving into southwestern Gibson County. And we should be being carried live now on WRAY.
We are.
Out of Princeton, who always carry us when these storms get up in that area. So, and fortunately, despite the fact that we still have more storms moving on in, this is the only one of significance right now, and it at least is showing a weakening trend. Hopefully that trend will continue, unlike what we've seen over the past hour and a half of it cycling up and down. But the farther north these get, the little bit less in ways of instability and support for the long-lasting tornadoes compared to points down to the south. So right now focusing on basically southwestern Gibson County. I'll position the radar here and zoom in a little bit tighter on some of these communities here as we now track the storm into Gibson County to the northwest of Poseyville. So the circulation will be right there. It's going to go up, it looks like, east of Hickory Ridge, west of Owensville, and Stacy, you know this area very well.
Yeah, that's kind of right in the Johnson area.
Yeah.
So that area west of Owensville, again, that's kind of where this is riding up to the north. It does look weaker than it was, but certainly still a tornado warning in effect for those of you in that area. So you want to be in your tornado safe place right now. Take a closer look at what we have there. And I've been watching the reports out of the National Weather Service chat. It's an easy way for us to kind of be in contact with them very quickly whenever things like this are going on. And it did look like they said that a hook was trying to maybe redevelop some right over near the Poseyville area. So they were watching that very closely. But it doesn't appear to have strengthened as much as it did when it was in the Mount Vernon area. But again, watching these super close here this afternoon. And then a rotating wall cloud was also reported by a spotter near the Grayville, Illinois area. So again, that's a little farther to the west there as you head over into southern Illinois. But at least a rotating wall cloud spotted from somewhere in that area. But where we've been tracking what was for a while and at different times a large and damaging tornado on the ground is now up here in southwestern Gibson County again, especially along and west of 165 there to the west of Owensville. And like Wayne said, that is getting very close to our radar site that we use from the National Weather Service quite a bit. So near Hickory Ridge, around the Johnson area, a pretty rural area here, but certainly still some homes there as this kind of continues to move to the northeast. Obviously, this is staying well west of Princeton, Fort Branch, and Hopstop. But those of you in far western Gibson County, stay in your tornado safe spots here for the next 15 to 30 minutes until we get this storm out of here. And this warning that you can see goes right up close to just south of Mount Carmel. It doesn't get up into the Mount Carmel area. Right now is going to go until 5:30. So we're a little under 30 minutes from the end of this warning, but we'll continue to keep an eye on it and give you all the updates that we get from the Weather Service and from our spotters and our viewers around the area.
All right, says Stacy. So hopefully that trend will continue. Not looking as strong as it did back in Posey County, so some good news there. But let me just kind of set the table here. Tornado watch, of course, continues, but the only warning we have is that one up in Gibson County right now. And that's pleasantly surprising, considering that we have the main final line of storms now pushing in from the west, the final band of storms associated with what is no longer a tropical system. It's the remnants of what was Hurricane Beryl, now pushing through the Missouri Boot Heel, and will be moving right across our northwestern counties this evening. But it's out ahead of the area of low pressure to the right of that track where you get the tornado development. So even though the actual center won't be in here till later tonight, it's out ahead of that center where you get the tornadoes. And that's why I think our tornado threat should be ending once this last line of storms moves on through. And then hopefully by 8, certainly 9 o'clock, we'll be done. It's 5 o'clock right now. This line was modeled to hit Evansville at 6 o'clock, so it's a little bit ahead of schedule, and that's some good news. But we have tornado warnings all the way over here to the east in central Kentucky, even farther from the circulation associated with Beryl. But you can see the line weaker down here to the south, and once this line goes on through, there's nothing really waiting in the wings over here. So that, again, is cautiously optimistic that we'll be in much better shape here, at least in about another hour or two, certainly 2 hours once we get this final line through the Evansville area. Just looking at this in 3D, not seeing anything that jumps out too much. These storms are not topped all that high. And I was mentioning earlier, if you're out experiencing any of this rain, these storms don't produce a lot of lightning. These tropical systems normally don't have as much cloud-to-ground lightning associated with them, which means you're not going to get a lot of thunder to kind of warn you that something bad's about to happen. You also don't get the really large hail because the temperatures aloft are warmer, and that means the rain is actually warmer. It's not that cold rain you'll get. Even in a summertime storm, those raindrops way up in the cold part of the cloud. Well, the temperatures up in the clouds here are not all that cold. It's tropical. And so it's a warm rain that comes down, and it hits differently. So it's a very different feel to everything. But speaking of rain, we've got a flood advisory here, and that's our first one. We thought we might be getting a lot of flood warnings here, but the heaviest rain has stayed up to the north. I'm not sure where that advisory is. It's not keying up there on the map, but you can see the circulation right here. It's much weaker. The heaviest rain we're kind of missing to the northwest up here in central and northern Illinois. And we're in the more unstable part of the system. And
Wayne, they've upgraded that tornado warning now up there in Gibson County because some weather spotters have kind of reported another confirmed tornado just north of Poseyville, and that's what's moving up into southwestern Gibson County now. So again, we've cycled back now to kind of a higher end tornado warning, weather spotter confirmed tornado. So that was, again, kind of as it moved north of Poseyville, and they've got it moving to the north at 25 miles per hour. You can take kind of a closer look, and you can see on that polygon, we've gone back to that purplish pink shade there on the warning. And that's, again, now this is still going to go until 5:30, but it has been upgraded again to, again, a confirmed tornado, which we have certainly seen with this storm several times as we've been tracking it over the past couple of hours. Again, especially off to just to the west of Owensville, moving to the northeast at 25 miles per hour.
And it's going to be interesting, Stacey. The final line is catching up to it with this supercell. And sometimes when storms collide, they get stronger. Sometimes they get ripped apart. My guess is in this situation, since it's a line hitting an individual cell, it's going to get absorbed by that line, could briefly impact its intensity. But my guess is once this line catches up to this, it might begin to weaken it. But it's hard to tell. I'm not looking at what we call mesoanalysis, all the, the details and parameters of what's going on in the atmosphere right now. But it'll be interesting to see as this main line, that's the final line, hits this supercell here.
And it's also very close to the radar site there. I mean, if you switch over and look at some of the velocity data, Wayne, and it's very close to that. So they're having to deal kind of with that too right now.
Yeah, we're in that kind of cone of silence around a radar site because the radar beam can't detect data that's right around the immediate radar, and the cone of silence could be a half a mile or so. But it looks like that circulation is probably going just west of Owensville, and the radar there. Of course, the radar is southwest of Owensville. So yeah, Owensville, you're okay. Radar is a little southwest of Owensville, and it looks like that circulation is passing just to the west of the radar site, but very close to there, and thus the data is skewed just a little bit. So we'll zoom in a little tighter here, and you can kind of see now, it's wrapping up again here as we continue to watch this come up through the north, and we'll look at storm relative velocity here, raw velocity, and there's your cone of silence. You got a little something right there, right along 165. which would be passing just to the west of the radar site. You can see the radar trying to update here right around the storm. And there comes the new sweep around, getting some pretty decent returns right there. That's some pretty strong wind towards and away from the radar. So we could have something that is actually on the ground right there, and that would be where 165 jogs to the east before it goes to the north up there, and that would be to the west of Owensville. The radar site's there, but it looks like we got something right there. And I'm going to step off camera here and back up the radar a few minutes and just see if I can find and kind of see how this has been evolving over the last few minutes, but you can kind of see.
Now we are getting some reports of a large tornado on the ground in Owensville, sorry.
Okay.
From a spotter up there.
Yeah, so yeah, it definitely looks like it's tightening up there. As that's the last scan, broader rotation, and bam, now we got the dark blues up against the bright reds. Right up in that area along 165 where it takes that jog. Does that have a turn? I know you live
It's
up
in the Johnson area.
In the Johnson area, okay. And so that's going to be moving to the west of Montgomery and then kind of probably up 165 there before it turns, well, I guess it does eventually turn there to the east, but...
Yeah, and then that goes right into the town of Owensville when it turns.
Yeah, so it looks like it's staying west of Owensville. It is going to stay probably just west of Montgomery there. But you say it's pretty close to Johnson, not showing up here in our map.
It doesn't show up. I'm not sure why.
For some reason. But yeah, it's eventually going to shoot up there. And yeah, that's definitely looking much more pronounced than it did earlier. So it looks like we got the tornado now confirmed again on the ground just west of Owensville, just west of Montgomery along 165 there. And that's going to be moving next up across County Road 450 south. And I guess that's a fairly rural area?
It is, yeah, it is, but quite a few homes in that area, but yes.
In that area.
And then once you get more north of that, even more rural, and there they've just updated the warning again, so let me get the latest on that.
Yeah, you can clearly see that is cycling back up again.
Which it has done now probably at least 3 times, it almost seems like. So the new update hasn't quite come in yet. My oldest daughter, my kids are at home. We live actually more on the northeast side of Owensville as you're heading up toward Princeton, but she did say that the power is out there at our house. And we're more, like I said, on the east side of Owensville. So, and remember, you can get our simulcast on WRIY 98.1 out of Princeton. They are certainly taking our entire coverage here this afternoon.
Yeah, I'm going to put a storm track on this, which should miss Mount Carmel. It's moving in that general direction. But what was the latest speed on this? Was it?
So now with their update, they have it north at 30 miles per hour, and they're still continuing it to be a public confirmed tornado, saying a confirmed large and dangerous tornado located near Owensville, moving to the north at 30 miles per hour.
Okay, north at 30. Okay, so let's go ahead and put a storm track on that. Well-pronounced couplet moving north at 30, and so at that rate, yeah, it looks like it's going to basically stay over a pretty rural area. You can see there the time of arrival for East Mount Carmel at 5:29. So it looks like once it gets out of the Owensville area there, it will pass over mainly rural areas of western Gibson County. Close call for Mount Carmel. Our storm track has it coming in just across the river from Mount Carmel in the East Mount Carmel area at around 5:29. So yeah, that's I guess somewhat good news that this is going to be moving over rural areas. But Mount Carmel, you certainly want to pay attention. But my guess is just the way, you know, if the storm's already east of Mount Carmel, that it's not going to make a turn to the west in any fashion. So my guess is Mount Carmel, you're going to
Seems like they've been turning a little more to the northeast, if anything, at times.
Yeah, but this thing is, it's really tightening up there. Of course, you're getting, and this is very close to the ground, so that's even increases confidence more that this is a tornado, because that radar beam is very close to the ground coming out of the radar there in Owensville. So you can clearly see the rotation there, strong in both directions, away and towards the radar, and that's passing, again, just to the, Owensville's over here. So Owensville's okay. Montgomery should be okay. It's going to be close for Montgomery. But then once it gets out of that area, it stays fairly rural until you get up closer to Mount Carmel. And it looks like it should stay east of Mount Carmel, Illinois. Could be closer to East Mount Carmel and on the Indiana side of the river. But certainly a well-defined couplet there that has ramped up once again. And we're really losing, reflectivity. We're going to get all kinds of interference there. So we'll just stick with the velocity data. And they both are doing a nice job here. So we'll get this away from the radar site within the next 5 minutes, and that will give us a better view. But the bottom line is, and I'll pull everything back here a little bit. And here we got the new sweep coming in. Okay, so it looks like it is now to the northwest of Montgomery. So up in this area here, so you got Montgomery, you got Owensville, you got the radar. The tornado looks like it's up here crossing West 450 South, pushing up to the north, and then it will continue northward over rural areas and eventually get pretty close to East Mount Carmel as it gets farther to the north. But that's the latest sweep that has just come on in. Let me zoom out a little bit here, bring things into perspective a little bit more, and you kind of see that rotation might be getting a little broader. So you can see the strongest winds in light red and dark blue aren't right up against each other. So it's a little broader, but still significant. Still could very well be a tornado on the ground there. And the bigger view here, as we kind of show you the bigger picture, as this storm pushes to the north, you can see Mount Carmel, you're located here. So it would have to make more of a turn to the west, the northwest, to hit Mount Carmel, Illinois. But if it continues in that fashion, it could hit areas right across the river in Gibson County from Mount Carmel. And of course, that would be East Mount Carmel in Gibson County as it continues up to the north. But that is the one storm we have of note, and that main line is catching up with it. Let's see where that main line is. They're starting to merge, it appears, and now we've got...
And now it's the new warning that they're taking up into southern Knox County for that storm, the one storm that we have. So let me see if the new information has come in there. And they're keeping it as a considerable damage tornado warning, kind of a confirmed tornado on the ground, which obviously we've been watching now for quite some time. So now the new tornado warning extends in through the rest of kind of west central Gibson County, northeastern Wabash County, and that's going to go until 5:45. So for the next 30 minutes again, now we have this new tornado warning. And they're saying a confirmed large and dangerous tornado that has been located near Owensville, but again, now kind of up to the northwest of Owensville. And they've got it moving due north at about 30 miles per hour. Seemed to slow down a little bit ago, but now has picked back up some speed again. And still a public confirmed tornado. And based on what they're seeing on the radar still and what we've been seeing with the velocity data, they are going to continue with that higher end tornado warning, like I said, until we get to 5:45. So that will include the city of Mount Carmel. So if you're in the Mount Carmel area, you do want to be in your tornado safe place right now until this storm gets by you. Again, especially the east side of Mount Carmel could be in more danger of this storm, but it's moving due north, so going to be close enough that in that whole area and in western Gibson County as you head up toward Mount Carmel and then on up into southeastern or southwestern Knox County, you do want to be in your tornado safe place. We always tell you that's the lowest floor of your home, a basement if you have one, and you just want to be as interior as you can. So you want to put as many walls between you and the storm and that wind as you can, and be away from those outside walls and windows. So again, Wayne, this new tornado warning is going to go until 5:45 as the storm is continuing to move to the north at about 30 miles per hour.
And just seeing reports now on social media of insulation falling in Grayville, Illinois, from the damage in Posey County. So the tornado was lofting debris. Now, granted, it's tile insulation, but it was falling in the Grayville area. And of course, Grayville's sitting over here, which was well to the west of the tornado. And then we have damage in Mount Carmel. Shopping center's been damaged. We know
Mount Vernon.
I'm sorry.
Mount Vernon.
Yes, thank you. In Mount Vernon. Damage in Mount Vernon. Boxcars knocked over east of town near the Ford dealership there. We don't know of any injuries as of now, but we do have a crew en route there to get the latest information. But that's the storm we're tracking right now, which really ramped up as it moved north of Mount Vernon and then ramped down some as it moved through Poseyville. And now is ramping back up again as it pushed through the Owensville area, at least west of Owensville.
We're getting some reports now of some damage. It doesn't specify exactly, but out of Gibson County from that emergency management, and they're saying about a quarter-mile path of a few homes destroyed, some barns and some vehicles. They haven't heard of any injuries, but they're trying to go in and check on some folks right now.
And that would be?
It just is from the Gibson County Emergency Management. It says between County Road 550 and 350, and I think you did mention at least 350. They're kind of northwest of Owensville, so I'm assuming in that area. Okay,
so yeah, unfortunately, homes destroyed, that's bad, but hopefully everybody was in a safe place there. But we got our crews out there getting some information on what's going on. So we know of damage in parts of Gibson County, Mount Vernon. It was damage in Union County. In Kentucky, we've had some video, and if you got pictures, social media is great, but I can't get to it now. Use our Tri-State on the Go app. You can submit video and pictures, and that way our newsroom can get them, and we can get them on air to you. But I can't do it while I'm on air here, and same with Stacy. We can certainly look at them, but we want to get them on air, but we appreciate all those reports. Just do it safely. That storm now pushing to the northwest of Owensville. You can see the polygon going all the way up into far southwestern Knox County. So St. Francisville, you're on the edge, and it looks like they also extended it into far eastern Wabash County in Illinois. But it looks like if this circulation doesn't change, it's going to be tracking pretty much just east of Mount Carmel and then go up into far southwestern portions of Knox County. Now, video, as I mentioned, we've been seeing some coming in. Got some fresh video now from the tornado when it was moving through the city of Mount Vernon. Yeah, Mount Vernon, outside of Mount Vernon. So that would have been probably folks looking towards Mount Vernon, but clearly a tornado there, and that may have been as it pushed to the north of Mount Vernon. Obviously, some rural area there, but that is the storm that we continue to track. It's a storm that has produced damage. Don't know of injuries at this point, but as Stacy just mentioned, we do know of at least a home destroyed in Gibson County by this storm. We appreciate your reports. Let's head back to Doppler radar now and zero in on what's left of this storm, and it's still a significant storm. That main line is kind of catching up with it, so everything's getting a little less organized here in terms of the structure and the organization, unlike earlier when these were pretty much standalone supercells and pretty easy to track. But it looks like, yeah, we still have that circulation right there. Let me zoom in a bit tighter. Okay, so it looks like storm relative is going to do the best job on this. So let's zoom in on this as it continues to push across rural areas of western Gibson County. And you can see the rotation right there. So there's the city of Mount Carmel, Illinois. And so this is moving to the northeast. So this should miss Mount Carmel. Now, I know you're in the polygon there, and you certainly need to keep an eye on this. But unless this gets turned more to the northwest, it's going to miss the city of Mount Carmel. But it will be crossing over into areas there just to the east of Mount Carmel, certainly, as the storm continues to move on to the north. So just kind of to bring everything into perspective here, we got 64 right here. So this is going to be crossing Indiana 64 between the bridge and then Highway 65 here. So it's, again, going to stay west of Lisle, certainly west of Princeton, and west of 65, and that circulation is going to go right across far western Gibson County, should stay to the east of Mount Carmel, and then continue up across rural areas there north of 64, and then eventually across the White River into far southwestern Knox County. So it looks like the path, at least, is missing a lot of the heavier populated towns across that region. And just to verify before we get over to Stacy here with the latest on the warning, which has just been updated here. Yeah, it's right along. Let me just get closer to the radar there. That would be south 900 west. That circulation right there. And as we continue to work it to the north here, and again, forgive me, we're really in here tight, trying to get people specific. So there's East Mount Carmel, and there's 64 as it jogs to the northwest towards the bridge. And there's your tornado. So it looks like it's going to stay rural there, get close to East Mount Carmel, continue over rural areas, and eventually cross over into southern Knox County. So, okay, Stacy, that's the latest on the path.
Right.
As the storm now continues across western Gibson County.
And we have a couple things going on now. So we've been telling you about that main line coming in just behind the supercell that we've been tracking. And now we have our first warning, and it is a tornado warning along that line. So the Weather Service noticed something trying to spin up near Poseyville. And so you can see it's a lot to look at here, especially with all of the reflectivity colors. But we have this red polygon from Poseyville up to the northeast. And that is a brand new tornado warning for, again, some rotation in the Poseyville area that's been trying to spin up along that main line. So now we have kind of a base tornado warning for south central Gibson County and northeastern Posey County, and that's going to go until 6 o'clock. And that is kind of moving up to the northeast a little faster at about 40 miles per hour. And then the supercell that we've been tracking that was near Owensville and then moving up to the northwest of Owensville and just to the east of Mount Carmel, they've updated that warning, and they're continuing it with that kind of considerable damage tornado warning and public confirmed tornado warning, because we've been seeing that in several different communities over the past several hours. So again, that tornado warning does continue in the Mount Carmel area and points to the east. And then we have a brand new tornado warning kind of along the main line just near the Poseyville area and points to the north. And then that goes up again into southwestern Gibson County. So some areas near Owensville and to the west and northwest, you've certainly had more than likely a tornado moving through, but now you've got the main line coming in, and there still is the threat for something to be spinning up along that. So be very careful. A lot of folks may be trying to go out and look at how things are and any damage that they have, but we still have this line coming through, and it has the potential, Wayne, for producing another tornado.
Yeah, and it's remarkably similar to the path of the first tornado. I mean, look at this. This is 5 minutes ago. There's your couplet just northwest of Poseyville. Now, the latest one has moved it very quickly. This one looks like it's moving faster.
It is at 40 miles per hour.
Right.
Yeah.
So watch the new circulation here, the new scan, almost up to the radar site. This one could get very close to the Weather Service radar. Let's hope it doesn't damage the radar and then we lose radar data. But this one is tracking a little farther east, but you can see the circulation is smaller and not nearly as strong as the one that apparently destroyed a house when it was pushing through Gibson County. You can see what's left of it right there. So it looks like this circulation is weaker, smaller, but still trying to hold together and shooting up very close to the radar, which is right here. And this is going to be tracking maybe a little farther east than the one that did earlier, that did produce the damage in points in western Gibson County. So 2 tornado warnings right now, same area, same general area that the first tornado impacted, as the main line of storms is now moving in from the west. And there's a new update coming in on that one, it looks like. That polygon is flashing. So we got that storm, and then we got the one up here to the north, which does look a little weaker too. But before we get to you, Stacy, let me look at this real quick, because this does look considerably weaker. And yeah, look at this. This is good news. That's about, let's see, that's 5:20. That's 8 minutes ago. Now watch what happens. That circulation is really fading apart, falling apart as it crosses 64. So good news there for that lead storm that has the history of damage. Watch the circulation. Look how strong it is there. Watch as it approaches 64. We're losing the blue, and now it's really falling apart. So that's some good news for that one. And then we have this one Still holding it together there, those reds and blues just southwest of the radar site in Owensville. All right, what do we got, Stacey?
So we actually have a new severe thunderstorm warning. That's kind of the tone that you heard. So real quick, I just want to show you that. It's over in northwestern DuBois County, just gets close to the city of Jasper. So that is just a severe thunderstorm warning, tornado possible on it. But that is what we have going on there, is that kind of supercell there kind of moves up to the northeast. So that latest information going across the bottom of your screen. They have now canceled that new tornado warning that was issued for northern Posey County, because the part of the storm that they started warning for is moved up into southwestern Gibson County. So they're keeping it going for, again, western Gibson County on that regular tornado warning. And then, like Wayne said, even the one that has the higher end tornado warning farther to the north, that at least right now appears to be cycling down some. We've seen it go back and forth, though, all afternoon. So we'll continue to watch that. This is the main line now, too, Wayne, that's coming in to Gibson County. And it's actually now starting to move into Vanderburgh County and the city of Evansville, and also the city of Henderson. No warnings there, but we have to watch this line closely as it moves across the tri-state.
Yeah, I mean, this is good news for Evansville and those areas that have not been hit so far. This looks to be the main final line. Pushing into Evansville now, not severe, but this is going to be our heavy rain event. But it doesn't look like it's going to last too long, as that line is moving right along to the north-northeast. But we had the little spin up there near Poseyville. As you mentioned, that warning was canceled.
For Posey County.
For Posey County,
north,
but it's now up into Gibson County.
Exactly.
Okay, so we did have a spin up there. And it looks like we got a new tornado warning up in northwestern DuBois County.
So that's where they had the tornado possible on that. So let's see here.
So they have upgraded that particular one to a tornado warning. So let's hop up there. Again, what's moving through Evansville right now, not severe. This looks to be the main event for Evansville, so hopefully we'll get it through here without any trouble. This is the far northwest corner of DuBois County to the northwest of Jasper.
This is radar-indicated rotation. This severe thunderstorm that is capable of producing a tornado near Jasper, especially up to the northwest, and they've got it moving to the north at about 30 miles per hour. So again, this will remain mainly over rural areas of northwestern DuBois County there, including, though, the areas of Ireland and Portersville. You can look in a little tighter there. And again, so they've kind of upgraded and made the warning a little smaller. You can see that the severe thunderstorm warning was a little bit closer to Jasper and even into the northwest side of the city of Jasper. But now where you see that red polygon, that is certainly to the northwest of the city of Jasper. But you can see that little hook that is kind of developed there on the south side of that. Let's go in a little bit tighter. And you can see that is very near the town of Ireland there. So if you're in the Ireland area, and especially to the northwest of Jasper, Ireland, up to the Portersville area, that's where you do need to go to your tornado safe place right now, as this storm kind of moves to the northeast, like they all have, at about 30 miles per hour. So that's a brand new tornado warning there in DuBois County. First one we've seen that far east in a while.
Right. And two circulations, actually. I just looked at the velocity data. The main one is down here, as Stacey just mentioned, approaching Ireland. But there is also circulation up here that briefly spun up, but that has dissipated, or it is dissipating. So right now, the main concern is on the tail end of that storm, which is now pushing into the Ireland area, if not points just to the west of Ireland, in that hook right there. So that's going to continue northward and eventually cross the White River and get up into the, that would be the Davies County area. To the north of the White River.
They've also brought down that tornado warning, Wayne, over in the Mount Carmel area to kind of another base tornado warning. We thought it was cycling down, so for now, at least Mount Carmel and points up to the northeast under a tornado warning, but not that higher end one for the time being.
Okay, good news there. All right, that certainly did look like it was weakening a few minutes ago when we looked at that. This one does not look nearly as pronounced as the one that we know caused damage in Posey County, Gibson County. So good news there, but we'll have to keep an eye on that. This one just started to spin, but at least in terms of velocity, we're not seeing anything that is too pronounced here with the storm in northwestern DuBois County. If we have anything, it would be very close to Ireland, if not just to, well, probably moving, I would say, almost in Ireland, if anything, just to the west of the city of Ireland. So that's that storm. Let's back up here, and I want to show you what's going on a little farther to the west. Let's get over to the Mount Carmel area and see how that storm is looking now as that tornado warning continues for northwestern Gibson County. And that line starting to run into the actual cell itself. So let's look at velocity data here and see if that circulation is still showing up. It would be more than likely that one. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to step off camera here because now we're getting contamination from that line coming in from the west. So I need to find the original circulation. Okay, there it is. So there's the original circulation that we know produced damage, and as it crossed Indiana 64, it continues to weaken. It would be now north of 64, Indiana 64, and would be approaching the White River to the east of Mount Carmel. So that looks to be the situation up there. So
and they're reporting a lot of rain, torrential rain in Mount Carmel, but very little wind, at least in downtown Mount Carmel.
Can you, Stacy, I want to check the cameras here as these storms coming through. If you could tilt Henderson back up. For some reason, our Henderson camera got knocked down, but we've got the heavy rain coming through Evansville now. So look at the downpours here in the city of Evansville. And this is not severe. That's good. If we can get this through, I think that's it for the Evansville area. But obviously, a lot of heavy rain falling in Evansville. Ellis Park tower camera, very similar. And of course, we're hitting at afternoon commute here, but the camera's shaking a little bit, but no indication of anything that's really strong in terms of the wind. Deaconess here on the east side, looks like the rain has yet to arrive on the east side of Evansville. And Owensboro, the line has yet to arrive there. I don't know if is that current? Is it still? That may very well be current. They're just double checking, make sure we had a connection, but yeah, that does appear to be current with some sun still off to the east there in the city of Owensboro. And then we've got, if we have, no, actually Henderson doesn't show up on this particular menu. And we at USI, I think that shows up. Yeah, out in the west side, got some rain falling there. So just wanted to show you that we are keeping an eye on what's coming through the metro right now, but fortunately, nothing all that strong when it comes to the line of storms that is pushing through Evansville, but some very heavy rain, which we could use, and it doesn't look like it's going to last too long. Okay, so we're going to get to Mount Vernon for a live report here. Before we do that, I just want to let you know that the tornado warning does continue for areas along the White River east-northeast of Mount Carmel, as that circulation is pushing up into northeastern or southwestern portions of Knox County. And then finally over here in northwestern Du Bois County, we've got a cell that is showing a little bit of rotation in the Ireland area, and that's going to be shooting up into areas west of Portersville as it pulls away from Ireland and then goes up towards the White River. Now we're going to get to Mount Vernon, Illinois, where we have Ann Powell live with the latest on the damage that occurred there from the tornado roughly 1 hour ago. Ann, what can you tell us?
Actually, we are in Mount Vernon, Indiana, and we are near Port Road, just outside of the city. And also besides, you can see behind me here, there's some very substantial damage. You can see a tree down here, and I've spoken with several residents in the area and say that a reported tornado went through right here. And you can follow me as I walk here across the street from where I am right now. You can see a cornfield just flattened by strong winds. And obviously, the National Weather Service will have to get out here to determine if this was indeed a tornado or a straight line wind. For now, reporting in Mount Vernon, Ann Powell, Eyewitness News.
All right, thank you, Ann. And there's more damage as you get closer into the city. We know a shopping center was damaged. I think Ann's going to head that way and get some video of the damage at the shopping center, and then also near Expressway 4, the rail line that comes in there, a row of boxcars on a train was knocked over there, and a home was damaged up in Gibson County. So those are some of the things we know of, and it looks like we got a new severe thunderstorm warning.
Yeah, and this is somewhat encouraging news news. So the Weather Service out of Paducah has now went with a severe thunderstorm warning, still with a tornado possible for farther to the east and northeast across the rest of Gibson County. So like we were telling you a little bit ago, this main line was likely going to catch up to that supercell that we have been tracking that has produced a confirmed tornado on the ground and damage in several different areas. So it's kind of overtaking that now and at least weakening that tornado potential some. But take a look here at live Doppler radar, and you can see that now we have kind of that yellow polygon stretching from near the Fort Branch, Owensville area up to the northeast across Princeton, up into Hazleton, and then far northwestern Pike County. So again, this is a new warning, but now it's a little bit lower. A severe thunderstorm warning. Still can't rule out something trying to spin up along this line and briefly produce a tornado. But the bigger concern right now is going to be for some 60-mile-per-hour straight line winds. Again, as that line now, so it's going to affect more areas. It's more of a solid line with the very heavy rain and the potential for those gusty winds. And you can see it'll cross 41 here soon and then push into northern and eastern Gibson County. So from Princeton down to Fort Branch into Hobstadt, you guys are now going to kind of get your turn for the storms because that tornado producing storm from a little bit ago stayed west of those areas. So that's the latest, Wayne. Again, somewhat encouraging news, but the Weather Service is still letting us know that we still need to watch out along the line for something to try to spin up.
And they did extend the tornado warning across the White River into southeastern Davies, southwestern Martin counties for the circulation right there in northwestern DuBois County. You can see the hook right there. Still has some rotation on it. Nothing nearly as pronounced as what we saw in Posey, Gibson, Union counties here. But nonetheless, a tornado threat here, and that's going to cross over the White River and go right up across. It looks like more eastern Davies County and probably miss Martin County and should stay probably to the west of Alfredsville. I mean, Alfredsville is right there, so the circulation is right there. Unless this makes a hard turn to the northeast, if it continues on its current path, it would pass to the west of Alfredsville. And of course, once it gets up into Davies County, our sister station up in Terre Haute does handle coverage for them in a more extensive manner. We'll certainly let you know as we can here since we are live on the air, but this would be getting close to Portersville. So if you're in the Portersville area, close call for you the way it looks right now up in DuBois County because the hook is right here. So it looks like it's going to pass probably just west of Portersville, cross the White River, and then go up across rural areas of southeastern Davies County and likely pass to the west of Alfredsville. So that's the situation up there. Tornado warning extended to the north of the river. Now, as we pull back, give you the bigger picture here, as that line of storms continues to roll right along the Highway 41 corridor, much stronger north of the river versus points to the south. And this will be our big rainfall event too, and we could pick up a lot of rain here in a short period of time, but very little lightning along this line. As a matter of fact, I think I have my lightning loaded in here just to kind of show you. Well, I'm not sure if I do or not. Yes, I do. So this is just the lightning, and you can see only lightning we have is with the cell with that severe storm warning up in northern Gibson County. The rest of the line not even producing any lightning at all, which is not unusual for these tropical systems. The air aloft is just not nearly as cold as normal, and so you don't get the distribution of charge that we usually see in these types of scenarios normally in the spring and even the summertime. So line of storms up and down Highway 41. This should be the main event for the Evansville, Henderson, Newburgh area, and we'll continue to watch it because we continue to get some warnings popping along the line, and you've got the severe storm with a tornado possible with that part of the line now pushing through Gibson County, about to hit Princeton. It's crossing 41 up there, and as we look at the wind data there, since this is a more organized line of storms compared to what we were seeing earlier with the supercells, straight line winds may come into play here also, whereas before it was pretty much tornado or nothing. But with these storms, that line, we could see a surge of straight line winds. And indeed, you see these brighter shades of red right now. that are crossing Highway 41 up in Gibson County. So that could be a situation where we have some damaging straight line winds also. And of course, that's why they're going, I think, with a severe storm warning, tornado possible. You can see everything kind of bulging out here. So that's an indication of a surge of what could be some damaging wind, especially these shades of lighter red here west of Princeton, crossing over 64. Those are going to head up towards Patoka. So the best likelihood for some damaging straight line winds with this line that's coming into Gibson County will be west and north of Princeton up towards the Patoka area with that surge of wind that you see right there. Haven't talked a lot about straight line winds this afternoon. It's been all tornadic. And meanwhile, we still have that tornado warning hanging on for southwestern Knox County as that circulation is still there, but it does not look nearly as bad as it did earlier when it was farther south across Gibson County. Still a little bit of circulation showing up there, but not nearly as pronounced. But they're hanging on to that tornado warning there, southwestern Knox County. Then that's going to continue to move probably right along the Wabash River eventually, passing to the east of Allendale. But hopefully that weakening trend with the tornado will continue. But there's your surge of straight line winds that could be producing some damage with that line of storms down in Gibson County. And as we go southward along that line here, we can see that it is now pushing across Vandenberg County. And what we're seeing down in Evansville, not all that strong. And in terms of wind down this way, I don't think we're seeing much in the way of wind also compared to what we're seeing up here to the north. But just going up to the north to kind of show you the difference here, where we've got the warning in effect. And we'll have to watch this area up here. On the northern end there, it looks like something broad may be trying to spin up a little bit. But compare these brighter shades of red there to what we're seeing down here farther to the south. You can see those really fade away. So it doesn't look like any kind of damaging wind for the Evansville area, but the rain continues, and that should be ending, I would say, down here in Evansville in about another 30 minutes. The heavy rain should be ending within 30 minutes. So it looks like now severe storm warning then for northeastern Gibson County, tornado warning still southwest Knox, and now along the White River into southeastern Davies County. I think that's the latest, Stacey.
Yeah, and we still have the tornado warning in far northeastern Du Bois County, too. Right.